the back, it's all I'll send it up.
That's official.
Okay, good afternoon everybody and welcome to the February meeting of Murrumbidgee Council. I'd like to welcome everybody back after our Christmas New Year break. Hope everybody's renewed and ready to go for a very busy year. In the spirit of open, accessible and transparent government and to ensure this meeting is open to the public, this council meeting is being recorded and live streamed to the Murrumbidgee Council Facebook page. A recording will be placed on Council's website following the meeting. I'll ask for any apologies, please.
Councillor, I'm just trying to bring that up.
Yes, Councillor Wells. Any further apologies? If not, would somebody like to move that Councillor Wells' apology be accepted? Move Councillor Gilbert, seconded Councillor Churton. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against? Carried. Thank you. Move to the confirmation of the minutes of the ordinary council meeting on the 17th of December 2020. Somebody like to move that the council minutes be accepted? Move Councillor Smith. Seconded Councillor Bryce. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against? Carried. Thank you. I'll remind you all of your pecuniary interest declarations. I hope everybody's read the business paper and is well aware of anything. If there's something to be submitted, could you please bring it to the table now?
On that note, Councillor McRae, I think it's only best that we cut my report up in two to allow for the conflict of interest. So recommendation one be separated from the other two recommendations, just so that that is the declaration. Those declaring interest can be at least part of everything, not miss out on all, out of all, that's all.
Do I need to put that to the floor?
No, we'll just deal with that.
Okay, right. We'll move forward with that process for John's report. Right, we've asked, we've got the pecuniary interest declaration, thank you. We'll move on to the mayoral report. I apologise for the lateness of this report. I was on holidays and trying to think back to the 17th of December was a little bit of a challenge because it's been a very busy time. However, I've tried to cover some ground here. I've recognised that we have had significant rainfall. We've had a great harvest. Our small businesses continue to be challenged by the COVID implications, primarily because of where we are based geographically, which has a large Victorian component. So I just encourage all to utilise their local businesses as best they can so that we can support them during these ongoing financially challenging times. Our COVID-19 plan has been constantly adapted and made fit for purpose. We've always been informed by the public health orders, and we are now having to factor in that each state runs their own show. So that's challenging in itself. I do note that everybody is encouraged to return to work in a workplace unless, of course, there are extenuating circumstances. Our kids have all returned to school. Our school leaders are readying themselves for their next phase of their life, either at uni, TAFE or in the workforce. And this is a really positive step. Having spoken to kids during the Christmas and New Year break, those that had been at uni or whatever really missed that interaction during the last 12 months, even the kids, you know, in school. So let's hope in the new normal they manage to be engaged in that peer supportive environment. It's really important to the kids' development. It seems forever that we all had a Christmas New Year break, but it is our hope that 2021 will be full and productive with the completion of many of our major projects, and I did identify 10 or so of them there. We've got a lot on the go. We've had significant challenges getting our contractors to the table, not their fault, you know, lots of state impositions. So let's hope that 2021 sees the completion and finalisation of a lot of those projects. Council attended a strategic planning workshop in Albury from the 5th to the 7th of February. It's really important to get in a room and be able to chat about things strategically as a team. and we covered a lot of area in a short period of time. I think it was really worthwhile, and I just encourage everybody to think that perhaps this shouldn't be just a one-off here, once a year. I think we need to gather as a group far more frequently. The next step in community consultation regarding the Yanko Creek Sidland modernisation projects will take place in 5 sites from Norleen to Miranda across the next 3 days. This is a communication session that informs of the process that's been undertaken since December 2018. The Jerilderie session is being held tomorrow between 2 and 4 in the Civic Hall, and I encourage any that are able to please attend. Hopefully the people at the tables of influence will actually be in the room and able to answer any questions. It's been a very long, arduous process to get to where we are now, and there will be compromise that is required, but hopefully the compromise will not in any way, shape or form impact in a negative manner on our communities out here. But the irrigable land, the community, the urban community, and the environment all need to be able to survive and thrive. So that's what we've been charged with doing at the table. Australia Day 2021 was a unique approach to how each community celebrated, and I think as a whole the day was very, very successful. There's real value in having a plan B, and that was demonstrated in Colliambley when they had to shift from an outside venue to an inside venue. The luncheon hosted at the Darlington Point Hotel was really well done, and Jerilderie hosted a high tea here for the 36 invited guests. And I think the really important point to take away from the day was that each community is allowed to be unique and bring a unique approach to how they celebrate it. We had some really significant nominations and we had some very worthy winners on the day of the award. So we are a very rich council community, and to be able to celebrate that is it's a real pleasure. The ambassador was a character. I'm glad he was here for a short time, but he brought a really unique and personal and generous approach to his ambassadorial role. And so my thanks and congratulations to the Australia Day committees in each town and the council staff who enabled these events to take place. It was a really collaborative effort, and the rewards were just at the end. A highly successful 2021 Riverina Fishing Classic was held at the weekend of 12th to 14th February. Congratulations to all of the organisers, and I do note that a significant donation was made to the Can Assist group, which is very generous, and it's a really visible show of our community looking out for and supporting those in need. So well done. We extend a warm welcome to Tom Dimmick as Council's Director of Infrastructure, and we look forward to a great working relationship that sees Council able to move forward with confidence across the many portfolios that come under Tom's management. Thanks for joining us, Tom, and good luck. I'd like to convey Council's thanks to the following staff members on their resignations or retirements. Greg Purcell, who resigned duties with Council effective Friday 22nd of January 2021. Greg served Council and the community for close to 49 years, which is a remarkable effort. Ben Nash, for his service and contribution to Council over 10 years. We wish Ben well as he continues his career in local government with a westerly shift to Edward River Council. I'd like to thank Janina Vard for her time with Council and the contribution she has made, particularly her commitment for Council and the wider community during this time of COVID, because it certainly was a significant impost, and she applied herself to those duties diligently and with great care. The long-awaited roadworks on the Newell Highway through the centre of Jerilderie have commenced, and we look forward to this work being completed. And then there's just a list of the meetings I have attended. So that's my report. Is there any questions regarding that report? If not, would somebody like to move? Councillor Bright, seconded Councillor Black. Those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those against? Okay, thank you. We will now move to item 1, the General Manager's monthly report.
Thank you, Councillor McRae. Just for breaking up the report, I will deal with recommendations 2 and 3 before moving on to recommendation 1. So just the latest for our COVID action plan. We've just, as the plan's always stated, that we have the ability to use whichever jurisdiction most strategic way of moving forward with our restrictions, being close to the border. Victoria and New South Wales are the ones that have been there, so you'll see references within there with the Victorian traffic light system or the hotspot system and all of those sort of things. So they're within there, and there's certain parameters around for when things turn red or turn hotspot on what protocols are in place underneath that strategy. The Colleambley Sports Precinct, you'll see that I've provided a timeline of when the works will commence and complete, and the various sections, noting that the football season is the 10th of April. Of course, to meet reporting deadlines, this was all done and put in and received prior to Victoria shutting down for an additional 5 days, which obviously had a slight impact in relation to that. So we'll work, ward councillors, Tom, myself and the Mayor are meeting with Colleambley Football Netball Club this evening, just on some logistics and some plan Bs and things like that if some of these things go over, particularly with the start of their football season. So we'll talk to them through about those things tonight. Stronger Country Communities, round 4. There's additional $100 million that have been put in the bucket to be distributed. All of the others have provided a allocation to council. We have received those allocations in the past. There hasn't been a commitment that the same sort of formula or anything is moving forward, but in saying that, the fund is being broken up into half of it being to deliver and enhance women's sporting facilities, including change rooms. The other 50 million is to high quality community and sports related infrastructure projects. So we just ask if you have anything that comes front of mind that you get to us early in March with some of the ideas that we can look at. Not knowing how much it's going to be, but just to get on the front foot. If we have to do some preliminary work of what you're thinking of, we'll do some preliminary work so we can bring it back to the March 2021 council meeting with some scenarios. If we know how much they're giving by that time, we'll have a better idea. If we don't, then we'll just sort of speak about what's coming forth and what could be applications going forward, whether we've got it guaranteed or not. Just in relation to item 5, recruitment, workplace health and safety advisor position closed on the 12th. Interviews Wednesday, tomorrow. Senior admin officer also closed on the 12th. Interviews on the 2nd of March. I was ahead of myself for a whole week. I thought that the Economic Tourism Development Officer and the People and Culture Officer closed on the 19th. They actually closed on the 26th. So I was getting more prepared on Monday and getting all the resumes, getting all the interview panels together and all that sort of stuff. For a learned person who sits beside me to say, hey, you've got another week. And so that was all good. So we might get some more applications this week to put into the mix going forward. Colleambley Hall, went to ask we identified a lot of stakeholders who users for the hall. We specifically wrote to them and asked them to comment on the Colleambley Hall. We've received some correspondence which is attached to your to the agenda. So we worked up a plan moving forward with that, with the architect to get some concept. And in relation to that, there's a recommendation that we put that plan to the public comment for the redevelopment of the Colley Hall. There was one of the questions within there was that there was one of the things on whether we should put a concept forward with enclosing the veranda or not. That was one of the requests. The plans that we've done doesn't enclose the veranda, so that will be a question for council to say yay or nay on when we come to vote. And if there's nothing else, we put it out there. Come back to council after the consultation period, hopefully March meeting, to move forward with the getting the detailed design done and answer some questions at that time in relation to the investment, the costing, what alternatives will be in relation to that. The org structure, we're still moving forward, getting some ideas, working with staff in relation to that, and we've appointed the position of Director of Infrastructure. We've gone to the market for the Administration Officer to the Director. After that, we're looking at other ways because we have a vacant position at the moment, Operations Manager and Construction. So we've got all of that into the mix, and hopefully we'll have something very soon on the way forward with the structure, in particular to infrastructure, but other things. Also, a possibility working through with the resignation of Ben Nash from the Department of Planning and Environment, looking at, is this the time that I actually bring forward from the 1st of July to sometime around now that we move towards that director, do the numbers and crunch those before I go with whether we move on that or not. So there's just a few things in the structure that we're looking at. Annual leave and use of the car, just requesting that approved annual leave from the 6th to the 9th and having the motor vehicle into Queensland for the 2nd to the 11th. Once again to visit my mother for that period of time and provide some respite to my sister who is looking after my mother. So I'll give her a week off and she can go off and do whatever she likes then at that time. Got the disclosures of pecuniary interest which are sitting there, and then just the other things. There's an EPA workshop on the 16th of March. And a few other things like that. So the recommendations is that council place the wider comment, the redevelopment of the community hall, and tell me whether you want to get drawings for an enclosed veranda or not, with final changes from construction submitted to council prior engaging design drawings. And the second one is the general manager will grant annual leave for the period of the 6th to the 9th. 2021 inclusive, noting the general manager will remain contactable via mobile phone and email during this time. General manager be authorised to take the private use vehicle into the state of Queensland for the period of 2nd of April to the 11th of April inclusive. Any questions on those parts of the report?
Councillor Brown.
Recommend those.
Would you like to move? Somebody like to second? Yes, Councillor Gilbert. Any further questions of John regarding those two recommendations? If not, I'll put the recommendations. Those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those against? Carried. Thank you. We'll now move to the first point. And Councillor Kirby, you'll have to.
Okay, I'll be in the discussion.
Sorry.
Item 2 in the report, the Building Better Regions Fund. As Council would be aware, the federal government has committed $150 million specifically to tourism-related things. $50 million has gone to international tourism, and $100 million is going to the rest of the world. One of the things that's sitting on the planning too is the redevelopment of the Darlington Point Caravan Park. Money was committed to do the master plan. We've commenced the master plan and got just in front of you. I would have put in just over lunchtime because they only just come hot off the press. And if you ask me a question about it, I'll be looking to try and find the answer because I haven't actually seen this ahead of anybody else in this room in relation to a concept of the area. They're still looking at the same investment that I've put down there, between $5 and $8 million to totally revamp the caravan park and to meet some of the criteria that we put forward in the master plan in trying to achieve a $1.5 million annual return in revenue from this establishment. So that's increasing the revenue than what is happening now. So that does involve extra sites to be able to achieve that. The replacement of the cabins, as you can see, extra road, and developments of other campsites and things like that. So if you have a look at the second page, you'll actually see our freehold footprint, and then you can marry it up from the cartoon picture, for want of a better word, what those two things are in relation to the gap. Now, the consultants have worked with or met with Steve Parascetto about the development and the land and things like that of where we can go. So it gives you an idea of what we have to work with. And so this will be done. The application is the 5th of March. We will have that application forward. One of the things as part of the grant is that an accountant needs to sign the fact that the organisation does have their contribution, because they're doing it as part of a stimulus as well. So they want to be able to see that the rubber hits the road fairly quickly, and hence the recommendation is that we commit to a $3 million matching fund. So it'll be a $6 million investment into it. Once we get the firmer numbers, if it goes lower than that, then we won't go for the whole $6 million. We'll have that before we put the application in, but if it goes for more, then we'll just stage it, or we'll have it as phases or whatever it is at the end of the day, to develop to do that. And we form that from loan. Vicky's kept her hair. I did say that to her a couple of weeks ago, to be able to fund this from T Corp or another institution. So is there any comments, questions, council, in relation to this?
What if we're not in agreement with that concept?
In relation to what?
To the design outlay of that.
Right. So they've tried to maximise the footprint to be able to get the revenue of the targets, and we've only got certain area of land. So unless you intensify it, or
because when we had I couldn't make the morning meeting when we had the one at the pub.
Yeah.
It was brought up that the section where the old boat ramp is.
Yep.
All that be incorporated into the caravan park.
Yep.
And that way it's give you an access road from there to the main beach.
Yep.
And if you follow straight through where the road goes now and bring the access road back around here where that new campsite's yellow section is, to the main beach, we're getting all that larger footprint there for the caravan park. And the cabins that they said they were going to put in on that right hand side, that new ST site, that's flood zone there. That's the first part that floods out in the caravan park. They could have went over where that car park area was and actually faced back onto that main beach area, and which would have given us a larger footprint for the caravan park.
Yeah. And probably, and I don't know, if you have a look where the boat ramp is, it looks like it's on the road reserve. Kelly Tyson, do you know what the different lands are in between all of these things? Why a possibility why they didn't go up to incorporate where the turning circle is for the boat ramp as part of the...
What they explained is that their best aspect of them doing it was to put it over there. There was no real reason why they basically said you don't want a caravan too close to the road. Well, a lot of other caravan parks are like that. That's how
On
they
the
are.
road.
A lot of that section near there, forgive me if I'm mistaken, but is part of the road reserve.
Right.
There's the matter about the flooding, the master planners didn't, or their brief wasn't to include any investigations, basically, apart from the cursory investigation. And really the whole idea is really conceptually to give you an idea of what could actually happen.
So in answering your question, then yes, we could make a change to it because this is only a concept. We can tweak it back. This gives us an idea of what we could probably do for $6 million or whatever it is with the layout. The brief being we want to generate that $1.5 million. So that's the sites that we have to do. That's the cabins we have to do. This is some of the infrastructure and the things that would be possible to put in to be able to attract that type of revenue. So we can find out exactly why they didn't incorporate that there, and it might just mean a massage or a movement. That's all.
Councillor Chervin.
I just wonder, what does ST site mean? They've got new ST sites. So that's all those pink areas. I just wonder what ST meant.
I can only think that they're going to be caravan sites. So what's ST?
I thought they said when they said that they were going to be like transportable unit sites, and they were going to have them up on stilts. And that larger one on the right hand side, that's where they're going to put the leaping tilts. So
Oh, yes.
up on
The glamping tent.
glamping
Yes.
tilts.
So I guess, Councillor Smith?
Question is to Vicky, do we have the capacity to pay a $3 million loan plus the 1.5 for Young Street plus the 300,000 to 400,000 that have been covered, pushes out to 5 million?
In the first instance, the bank covered was going to be, and we'll see whether that's actually right. You would hope that both the Young Street and Caravan Park are the type that would generate additional income, so that we should be able to meet that. I haven't sat down and done specific figures on those yet until I see the outcome.
I guess the real issue, Vicky, is that the decision we need to make is whether council is confident to commit to a $3 million loan. And from what John has just spoken to us about, there is an ability to influence his concept design. So is council A, confident to move ahead with borrowing the $3 million to see this redevelopment go ahead? And B, we would like to qualify as council that we would like to be able to have some input into the concept design. Is that the feeling of the council?
So if we commit to this, this is always going to be council managed. It's not going to be leased.
That's not a question that we've broached yet.
Like I said, if we're committing to that amount of money, then we're leasing it out. Well, a lot of money to spend on something that we're not in control of once it's leased out, basically.
That's correct. But for a $6 million investment, your lease payments would be of an amount that would certainly cover the loan repayments and some.
And then you've got to find someone who's going to lease it out for that amount where
That's right.
you probably should have went to a Big Four or something like that to see if they were interested to take it on.
Yeah, and we've done that.
Through the chair.
But they've got their own design. haven't they?
Yeah, but we've done that, and they had some minimum criteria which we didn't meet.
Yeah.
The whole idea of this is to get to that minimum trying to exceed their minimum criteria. That at the end of the day, never changed the thought that this can be branded with one of those chains at the end of the day. and a possibility of them could be leasing it if we've got the product, but we don't have the product at the moment. We're not meeting those things. All of that is still on the table, and I am very hopeful that if we proceed with this and we get the money from the Building Better Regions funds to do it. If we don't, we've got to go back to the drawing board and see what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. But the borrowing of the money is on the premise that we get the matching funds. Right? And if we don't get that, then we've got to find a different strategy on how we do this development at the end of the day. So I'm hoping that we have to scramble because we get the money to do it. But
As a council-owned facility, it gives us the ability to generate external revenue, which is really important to this small council because, in previous discussions, it's been identified that we really seriously need to be able to put our nose to the grindstone and find something that generates us some external revenue. So to make money, you have to spend money, and to spend money, it is prudent to invest in something that has the ability to grow and generate. So from that point, I think it does have an element of risk, but it is a managed risk, and it is something that we really need to take a big brave step and put our hand up and have a go at. Is there any further comment? Councillor Smith.
Through you, Madam Mayor. The caravan park in Darlington Point has been identified as one of our possible diversification areas with potential for external income. And if we are going to aspire to the future, then this is the direction.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Smith. If that's all the commentary around that, I'll put the recommendation, which states that Council commit to a $3 million as a matching fund for the redevelopment of the Darlington Point Caravan Park. The funds be sourced in the form of loan borrowings from T4 or another institution. So I'll put the recommendation. Those in favour, please say aye. Oh, somebody want to move. I thought Councillor Gilbert moved.
Oh, right, sorry.
Sorry, I might have drifted. Moved Councillor Gilbert, seconded Councillor Cherdwick. Those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those against? Carried. Thank you. Somebody like to bring Rob back into the room.
That concludes my report. Thank you, Councillor McRae.
Thank you. We will move on to item 2, please. The progress report for Wiradjuri Ward. Kelly.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Council. This is a progress report for the Murrumbidgee Ward project. It report gives you an idea of some of the stuff that we have been working on and where we're up to date. You'll see that there's an attachment at the back. It gives you more information about some of the storyboards and artistic elements of that project. To date, most of the work associated with the project has been in the planning phase. So undertaking the research associated with the history of Darlington Point, which has taken a lot of time, as well as getting some more information, particularly working with Wardeye Housing to find out more about the Wiradjuri people and their connection to the land, Warringesta, how important that is, and getting some more information about some of the families that are associated with Warringesta, so that when we actually do install these interpretive signs, we know that they're going to be installed where the story has we can be confident that there's going to be a degree of accuracy, and hopefully promote awareness to the community about those things. You'll see in the attachment there are a range of photos there that give you an idea of the sorts of illustration and pictures, images that will be reproduced on the sign. There's all in the attachment as well. We've got some examples of painting that have been done by the local Wardeye people, the Aboriginal painting that will be used as part of our vinyl wrapping on structures, such as the screen, which is proposed to hide part of the vents and cabinets, and also the gables on the shelters. You might have noticed that there has been some construction work that have occurred to date, mainly in respect to some of those vibrant red cars that are merging through the CBD area. We're almost at a point now of going over to Darlington Street to look at some of the work there and possibly commence construction. But you will know that in the recommendation, I make it clear that there has been an overspend in terms of the amount of concrete that's been used for this project. Unfortunately, it has occurred. If council wishes, we can stop where we are at the moment on the south side of the bridge, or we can continue our works on the other side near Darlington Street. Those works with pedestrian walkways, pedestrian way through the park, and also some concrete car parking areas right adjacent to the new building, which generates a lot of traffic and has been generating a lot of traffic. People pull up and look at the fire truck building, but they also use the amenities. Last night we had a town life committee meeting, and there are a number of community representatives that actually came and we talked to them about the project, and they were very impressed, and we took the opportunity to take them over to the mural that's currently being painted in Wadeye housing, and we're very impressed. It's looking fantastic. So does anyone have any questions in relation to that report?
Councillor Smith.
You say there will be required a determination of cars for its change in direction as well as bollards. Is there an additional cost involved? Tactile ground surface indicators will be required at determination of cars. Is there additional cost for those? Is that incorporated in?
That's funded.
That's funded, yes.
Okay. Any further questions? Councillor Gilbert?
How did you know I was going to say something?
Oh, I pay attention.
Just on the pillars, a lot of people have commented on, we've got the ones out on the main road, on the Surf Highway.
Yes.
Why are we putting the other ones in Lions Park and not out on the edge of town, like the other ones like on the River Road?
Are you talking about further north?
The pillars in Lions Park.
Yes, so there's some pillars there, and there's pillars
Then you got the ones out on the Sturt.
on the intersection of the Sturt, but are you saying further out to?
Yeah, why didn't we put the ones in Lions Park further out?
Yeah, we did look at that, and we talked to Transport for New South Wales, and we had lots of discussion, because that was certainly where our preferred location was, coming into the entrance. Unfortunately, it wasn't supported.
And
Transport for New South Wales have their own rules.
obviously,
Okay.
in front of Fig Tree Park, we put that concrete slab.
Yes,
What's that in,
the parking of RV areas.
So that's going to be signposted, is it?
Yes, we can signpost it.
Yeah,
Yes.
because a lot of people got no idea what it's there for, and then the other ones used to park along the Stock Street where we've got that footpath down that goes to nowhere. Is that going to link back up to another park?
It's going to link to Kidney Way.
Yeah, so that sort of stops carrying along the road there.
Oh, there-
But now because they've done that footpath right to the very edge of the tar road, we've got a water issue where it's building up along there, so it needs to be draining there to get that water away.
Right.
Which probably link back up to the corner of the Bernie Carroll shed. Drainage.
Thanks for that, Gavin. I'm sure somebody's taken a note of that, so we need to address that line issue. Are there any further questions for Councillor Brown?
Yeah, I'm just curious, there's an overrun, but I haven't seen a plan or a budget, so I'm not sure where we're going here. And it's just we transfer money from the 7-Eleven levy contributions fund. Are we allowed to do that? Is that?
Yes.
Yes, we are, though.
We're not going to be short.
It's for community infrastructure.
Right.
Kelly, have you got anything to add to that? No? Okay.
The only point I want to add is can you explain the concrete down Darlington Street? That will be from the new building down to the dump point.
Yeah,
So the area there that we've had trouble with is going to be concreted and
that's
swale drain's going to be in, so we're going to have that fixed.
that's right, yeah.
So thank you for that. It's been an issue for many years. Thank you.
Councillor Smith?
Darlington Street is to be paved, bitumen, straightened out. How are you going to address the other side of the drainage issue in Darlington?
Yeah, well, that hasn't been looked at. I will tell you that at the start of this project, we had extensive consultation with Council's Engineering Department. And at that point, the commitment was that the road works, including the drainage, occur concurrently with the concrete work. Unfortunately, to date, that hasn't happened and hasn't been organised. Unfortunately, that's the previous operations manager has left, and the commitment previously was that they would all be done over the summer period.
Hopefully, Councillor Smith, I'll ask Tom to comment on this in a minute, but I'm confident that given the investment in this infrastructure, which will be the concrete carving and whatever, it will move up the priorities to be addressed so that instead of having a band-aid approach to lots of different things, that area itself will be attended to and will be done. On that?
I'd probably more or less have an arrangement with Kelly to assess to see what needs in regards to that parking. Which we have been talking about.
We can confidently assume that now a lens and a consideration to that area will be given. So I think we can be confident it will be addressed. Thank you, Kelly. I'd just like to congratulate Kelly on this project. By the look of the attachments and the content here, a huge amount of research and effort has gone into it. And I think the community of Darlington Point is going to absolutely jump once these initiatives are put in place. And every project needs a passionate driver. And I think Kelly, you've done a great job, and thank you for bringing that to the table. Councillor Brown.
Just one other one. I've looked at your diagram here. The actual museum, that's going to be signposted, so when people turn off to go down there, that's not the only thing on that road. They will know that and carry on down.
Well,
That's the way you've got to do it. Is that how you're doing it?
that particular, so Councillor Brown's actually looking at the attachment. It's almost like a Where's Wally. You're aware of that? Okay, that's a painting that's been done. It was actually one of the submissions for the major mural. That particular submission did not get up. However, council is looking at moving along and purchasing the digital image of that. So I will say that as part of the project, we haven't identified any signage for the museum. But in saying that, we are currently seeking a quote to actually erect a sign or a sculptural element, I suppose, a three-dimensional sign at the front of the new building. And we're talking with the Town Life Committee about actually what will be on that sign. And some of the things that we feel that, or has been raised as being important, is a map of Darlington Point, showing, what's where, what facilities are available. Some of the fishing club information that unfortunately was on the previous sign that we had to remove. And also some tourist-related information, such as Altina and Wood Eye housing and stuff like that.
Okay. That new signage won't sit smack bang in front of that new display building, will it?
No. It would need to be integrated with the landscaping for that, and
because that's a really significant investment, and we don't want what's been placed in that glass area to be obscured by a sign that is absolutely informative and as it should be, but just not smack bang in the front of it would be good. I'm not painted with it. Would be good.
Yes, Madam Mayor, that the whole landscaping of the Lions Park is something that we've talked about before, and we're putting forward with our next grant application for the $2 million to create a master plan with landscaping elements part of that, and that would include Lions Park if council chooses to incorporate that.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thanks, Kelly. Would somebody like to move to Kelly's report? Move Councillor Turkey, seconded Councillor Bryce. The council received the information provided in this report and resolved to fund $123,000 of the pavement works for the Murrumbidgee Walk project, 3.11 levy contribution funds. Those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those against? Carried. Thank you. Item 3, please.
Councillor, I really haven't anything further to add in relation to this report. It's been to the council before. It's been placed on public exhibition. There were no submissions. It's simply a policy about how we deal with food vendors in public space.
Somebody like to move Councillor Black, seconded Councillor Gill. Any further questions for Kelly? If not, I'll put the recommendation which reads that the mobile food vending policy be adopted. Those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those against? Carried. Thank you. Item number 4, please.
Councillors, this is a report on the Stronger Community Fund money. Both round 1 and round 2 of that program. I've made a comment regarding the Murrumbidgee swimming pool and its completion. Now requires additional funding of $114,156.02, resulting from variations to the contract. Some of those variations were the increased size of the amenities block and filtration plant. Increase that size once we vary the type of filtration system that we're putting in. Asbestos removal from the demolition, the stormwater drainage, and the irrigation system. Original concept and design. I think we've got a marvellous project for the community. So the 114,000 overrun that project was proposed, the amount available from the water funds that were designated for water in the original project, if that's still your process. Those projects are continuing. We have our agenda at the current time, the daycare centre construction is part of that process also. So I guess, are there any other questions on those projects in there?
Vicky, I'd just like to make a comment. Well, this $114,156.02 extra has now, it's just not a blowout at the end. There was consultation during the process regarding the filtration system and the increased amenities block and whatever. So it wasn't just a rude shot smack bang at the end. It actually was considered under discussion during the process. So I think it was felt that if we're going to do this, this is this generational investment. We do it once and we do it properly. And to that end, these things were taken into under advisement.
And and part of the analysis of that was the water filtration system was the decrease in O&M in operating the new system as opposed to what was there, which was significant savings over the life of the pool. So we pay a little bit extra in capital, but we gain it over the operations of the system.
And one more comment, Vicky. We say we're going to take this money from the water filtration, safe and secure.
Not the safe and secure.
Oh no, council has received extra funding through safe and secure.
Yes.
So we're not actually taking from something that needs to be done. We've just received additional funding in this area.
If we fully utilised that component of the safe and secure water, the contribution that we give for something like $300. An assumption that
Okay. Are there any further questions of Vicky, please? Councillor Brown.
Long daycare centre, that, we rolled that money over, that's all legitimate. How long will we got this spending that?
I don't know if we have to answer that today, but I've not. At this stage.
Yeah, this is the
Thanks, Vicky, for that answer. Are you happy with that, Councillor Brown?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, it's
Okay.
just been drawn out.
Yeah, it has.
I have been speaking with the department, but there's a new director in there, and he's not had a chance to get back to me and have some more questions in that area. So.
But we are working on the assumption that that will be able to be moved across.
So,
Yes.
so that,
Vicky is on, what's going out now, how long is that?
I think it was to close at the end of March. We've anticipated come to the April council meeting for determination.
We've given ourselves the extra time than we would to analyse the tenders that come back in.
Yeah, hopefully we can, we are inundated with acceptable tenders and we can move quickly on that.
A certain component of that tender is the ability to get the job done in a specific time frame.
Yeah, that's good if we have that built into the,
Yeah.
yes.
And that is made quite clear that that's one of the requirements we'll be looking at is capability of the ends.
Are there any further questions of Vicky? If not, would somebody like to move the recommendation, please? Move Councillor Brown, seconded Councillor Smith. That the contents of the report be noted and an increase to the Jerilderie swimming pool grant allocation, together with a corresponding decrease to the Jerilderie water filtration plant replacement grant allocation in the amount of $114,156.02 be approved. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against? Carried. Thank you. Item 5, please.
Councillors, this is the report of the quarterly budget review. You find the attachment that gives the individual variances that we are seeking. The statement of cash flows indicates a decrease from the previous quarter, $1.675 million. Substantially increased cost of gravel road maintenance, increased salaries and wages, incorporating the new director and administration position. There are various ins and outs which are often funded. I've mentioned previously in our workshop the deferral of the Young Street subdivision works and subsequent loan funding there. We will put that in the next estimates once we've got a clearer picture again of how much we need. You'll also note the sewer fund variance for the loan for Ben Coven. I don't think we'll have that project finished by the end of June. Could be wrong, Tom, but I'm thinking that we might.
We're trying our best.
We'll be pushing, but there we go. The variances at page 27 to 30 of the attachment. If there are any questions?
Are there any questions of Vicky, please, regarding the budget review? No? Okay, would somebody like to move, please? Councillor Churgland, seconded Councillor Smith. That the recommendation read that the report be noted and the variances to the budgets as outlined in the attachment be approved. Those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Carried. Thank you. Item number 6, please. Thank you, Will.
Good afternoon. This is Essential Energy's LED lighting upgrade. Essential Energy are carrying out LED upgrade of the street lighting. Murrumbidgee Council planned to commence in May 2021. There are 23 decorative lights in jewellery which are non-standard unique in colour that we upgrade as part of the program. My report detailed the areas in which there's attachments to show where inconsistent lighting will be made light for raised up to be consistent for streets, and I'll provide an update when the work's going to start and some minor traffic disruptions as the Essential Energy carry out the work.
Thank you, Will. Are there any questions or comments for Will? Councillor Smith.
I've previously raised inadequate lighting in our back streets off the highway and asked that to be looked at. Is that going to be reviewed before the lighting is replaced? LED lighting has a tendency to fall straight to the ground as opposed to fanning out. So the street lighting that is already an issue could very well become even more so of an issue if the lighting is not spread around into a wider area. Are you able to comment on that?
I've got a list of the streets in which the lighting are going to make it consistent. Part of the scope of this project was to replace the existing lights, existing poles with LEDs, not add additional poles or infrastructure to the network.
It was just a matter of increasing the actual wattage of the globes that were in the street lights.
Yeah, so we've got a street and we've got the output's less in some poles than other ones. They're going to make it more consistent, pretty much the same level.
Up to the same level, not down to the same level?
No, everything's been brought up to, yeah. Yeah, you get diagrams in the attachments that show where the you can see with the coloured dots where they're being changed.
I still have a concern about the type of lighting being strong enough lighting of a night time.
The idea is that these LEDs put out the same light as what's already there.
Through Madam Mayor to Councillor Gilder. V rating is what's required within our streets, and it's something that we would then refer back to the Australian standards for the rating of lighting requirements. I think the LED program is based on replacing some old lighting systems. With regards to your question, we'll assess that through our essential energy people and to ensure that lighting is at the right V rating under the Australian standards if it's poor quality. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any further questions of Will? If not, would somebody like to move the recommendation? Moved Councillor Brown, seconded Councillor Bryce. That the council note the details of the LED lighting upgrade with updates provided as works progress. Those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Carried. Thank you. Item number 7 are the minutes of the Audit, Risk and Improvement Committee. Does somebody like to speak to these, please?
What would you like to know? I was there in spirit.
Well, that's about all it tells us. Is there any other information you'd like to let us know?
No.
Okay. Are there any questions? I'm assuming everybody's read this. Has anybody got a question? Or Councillor Curti?
Time frame 0.5, parking on Kimber Way, kind of Gumview Cafe, line marking. I'm sorry, I'm too quick.
Yeah.
Eager waiting for that.
I'm thinking I didn't see that in the ARIC minutes, but that's okay.
It could have gone there.
Gone everywhere else in the world.
Councillor Smith?
I was an apology for this meeting. I have spoken to the chair of the committee, and my understanding is that there are draft reports that will become final reports that may lead to having some information brought back after the May meeting.
Okay. Any further comment or questions? No? If not, we will, somebody like to move that item 7, the reports and minutes of the Audit Risk Improvement Committee be noted. Those, somebody like to move Councillor Smith, seconded Councillor Black. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against, carried. Thank you. Item number 8, please, the minutes of the traffic meeting.
Thank you very much. First of all, Powell Street, the vehicle access restrictions. A report's going to come back to the next traffic committee. Will's going to do a look at what the problems are there. Gumview Cafe, there are still problems there, and we are looking for the maps. Have you found the maps that were for the signage on the road, Will?
Yeah, I've got them ordering the sign now.
Ordering the sign, so, and there might be more line marking there.
Yeah.
So that's under control. Item 7, there's been near misses with angle parking here, not being 45 degrees. We might lose a couple of parking spots, but I'd like to move a recommendation that we have a 45-degree angle parking for Jewellery Street, Jewellery.
So from.
I'm asking for a recommendation.
Yeah. So.
It's asking for a recommendation. So.
Okay, can we do that?
So we'll get a report back to the next meeting. Tom will do a report, and we'll just put it through the report.
Okay.
To incorporate the report.
It has to be the same for the disabled parking spaces in front of the club. The heavy vehicle parking outside the tyre service, well, that's the local resident approved 20 odd years ago for parking to happen there. He's now complaining about it. But the general manager was at the Newell Highway Task Force meeting a couple of weeks ago, came back with an excellent idea for a truck parking area just east of the IGA in Jewellery Street here. So where trucks can park, but not caravans and other stuff. So trucks can access the IGA. It's where was it? Narrabri?
It's the only supermarket between Melbourne and Brisbane that trucks can pull up and go.
Narrabri, and it's worth $1.5 million to Narrabri supermarket, just so trucks can park. We can do the same thing for Jewellery. It not only gets the IGA, but it gets all our shops in town.
Yep. So you are identifying perhaps that vacant block?
No, we're looking just on the road if we can. Just pull up. It's only a 20-minute park anyway.
So
20 minute stop.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
That can be done.
So when that happens, is that time limited? Because there are residents that.
Well, yeah, there's really no point in them being there after 6:30 at
No,
night.
true, the supermarkets are not open.
So how will that impact on the shoulders?
We don't know. That's why we've got to find out all these things.
Okay.
And it's well worth it for the whole community of Jewellery.
Yeah.
A lot of trucks come past here, and once it's known about, they'll be pulling up and accessing town. As a truck driver, when I live as a truck driver, I know it's hard to park a truck and access the town.
It also will add to the fact that there's only 2 towns between the Victorian border and the Queensland border where a truck can pull up and access medical attention.
Correct.
And Jewellery and Peak Hill are those 2 towns. So it's valuable as a promotional tool. Yeah, we don't want 15 trucks parked there, just saying.
No, it'll be limited time.
Room for one.
Yeah.
At a
So,
time.
but yeah.
One each way.
Yeah, one each way, but that's all Narrabri's got as well.
On that, an initiative or just a tool that allows people to stop and do what they need to do for a limited time is a really good initiative, in my opinion. Any other information, Rob?
Nothing else really, except the Jewellery BP, and that's another report that's going to come back.
Okay. Are there any questions of Rob, please, regarding the minutes of the traffic committee meeting? No? Would somebody like to move that these minutes be noted? Move Councillor Curfew, seconded Councillor Brown. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against, carried. Thank you. Item 9, please. Item 9, please.
This is the preliminary meeting before.
Excuse me, Councillor Turgan, can you speak up, please?
This is the preliminary meeting before we had our Australia Day function. No, this is the one we had. This is a review meeting. We just had a review of what we did on the day. We actually really liked what we did with having it at the hall. We found that was, at the club, we found that was really, it just made things more efficient. And also what we noted was that people actually listened to what was being said up the front instead of sort of talking out the back. People were more engaged, we thought. We've canvassed the possibility, maybe thinking that might be the way we'll go in the future. The only problem is the flag raising.
But you won't get 100 people there, Christine. You've had 150 people there previously.
Well, it's not set in stone. We're just depending on. It would always be our plan B from now on. Yeah.
Let's see how the new hall comes up. How the new hall.
Yeah, we decided to go with everything that we did this year as far as the competitions and that go. Congratulate Trevor and his crew for the magnificent efforts they put in to try and get the all grounds ready for Australia Day morning. The evaluation of the ambassador program has been sent back. Other than that, let's try again for next year.
Councillor Brown.
Yeah, just on that, and, I was there and I thought it was a great day. But we have had discussions since, and this is not with the committee, but the amount of wards that we actually categorise, I think it's up to each Australia Day committee to work out what they want to do. But that was one comment that came back that I'd like to pass on to the committee, is that do we need that many awards?
I think the principle of what they did with having that many awards was to engage the community on about Australia Day. And it does that by involving the little ones from day dot. It's just only about engaging the community and getting the kids on board with Australia Day and celebrating Australia Day and growing up with Australia Day being a function.
Okay. Are there any further questions of Christine? If not, would somebody like to move that the Colliambley Australia Day Committee meeting minutes be noted? Move Councillor Turgren, seconded Councillor Curfew. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against? Carried. Thank you. Item number 10, please.
Just information about the citizenship ceremony that will be taking place.
Okay, somebody like to move, please. Move Councillor Bryce, seconded Councillor Smith, that the recommendation read the information contained in the Australian Citizenship Ceremony report be noted. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against? Carried. Thank you. Item number 11, please.
Council providing the monthly cash and investments report. You will note that there are actually two. End of December and end of January. Any questions?
Are there any questions for Vicky, please? Councillor Smith.
Is it rude to ask how we managed to find another 1.2 million cash in the bank between December and...
Well, depends on that's correct.
Good work. Can you continue to do that?
You will note that the roads to recovery, not the roads to recovery, sorry, the block grant payment comes in. Just depends when dollars come in and dollars go out.
Are there any further questions of Vicky, please? If not, would somebody like to move, please? Move Councillor Smith, seconded Councillor Bryce, that the recommendation read the council note the monthly cash and investment report containing the bank balances and schedule of investments as at the 31st of December 2020. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against? Carried. Thank you.
Use the same recommendation for
Mr. Ross? Item number 12? Okay. Are there any questions and business regarding the monthly cash and investment report? I'll put the recommendation that the council note the monthly cash and investment report containing the bank balances and schedule of investments at the 31st of January 2021. Those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those against, carried. Thank you. Item number 13, please.
Councillors, just commenting on the loan borrowings as at the 31st of December. Both internal and external loans still remaining there.
So I'd like to move Councillor Smith, seconded Councillor Bryce. Are there any questions of Vicky?
No, Vicky, the variable rate on the second loan wouldn't be too bad at the moment?
No, correct. So, we used the average interest rate then.
Yeah.
Monthly average interest rate then that we receive on our investments. So, yeah. 0.39.
Yeah. Okay. I'll put the recommendation that states that the information contained in the loan borrowings report be noted. Those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those against, carried. Thank you. Item 14, please.
Council's reporting on the new council implementation fund. So that was the merger implementation money. Just reporting that at the end of December, we've spent 5.7 million of the 6.225. I'm expecting another large payment in regard to the Telstra tower. So, I'm there. Apparently, I believe that it's actually operating. So, yep. So that invoice will be to us for the remainder of our contribution in the near future.
Okay. Are there any questions of Vicky, please?
Yeah, Vicky, how are we going with all this? Like, we've got our amended budget and we've got our expenditure. How much further have we got to go with this?
400,000 left to spend on that. So there's approximately.
Just spent that.
Well, we won't be expending the full amount of that 425,000.
Right.
There's another.
Oh, of course, you took the amount before, didn't you?
Yes. Yeah. So we've already spent 160. So I think it's a little more than that is the final contribution. So there is no saving there.
Okay. Are there any further questions of Vicky? If not, somebody like to move, please. Move Councillor Brown, seconded Councillor Curfew. And the recommendation reads that the contents of the new council implementation fund December 2020 report be noted. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against, carried. Thank you. Item 15, please.
Council, just reporting on the rates and annual charges collection as at the end of December 2020. And the total outstanding of those annual rates and charges of $2.747 million. Equates to a collection of 57% as compared to 58% at the same time last year.
Are there any questions of Vicky regarding the rates and annual charges collection report? If not, somebody like to move, please. Move Councillor Black, seconded Councillor Churban. Those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those against, carried. Thank you. Item 16, please, Vicky.
Councillors, this is information on what I've been carrying out during the months of December and January.
Is there anything you need to draw our attention to, Vicky?
Audit seems to be constant.
Yes.
Right now, so it feels like that, but certainly have further discussions with our auditors again. Internal audit has progressed. It's at the report stage. they are awaiting responses from myself. So we can finalise that. Grant-funded projects continue to take a lot of time. There's monthly, quarterly reports, milestone reports, and so forth. So, we have implemented a new report, or an additional reporting package into the authority system, which we already meet some of the criteria of our audit report. So, moving forward.
Thank you. Somebody like to move? Move Councillor Black, seconded Councillor Smith. The recommendation read, the information contained in the Finance Manager's report be noted. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against, carried. Thank you. Item 17, please.
Madam Mayor and councillors, just to give you an outline of what I've been doing for that 2-week period when I came back from holiday. Probably not as lengthy as my usual reports, probably a good thing. But essentially, I guess the key thing that I'd like to mention to you is I've spent a lot of time talking to people about potential rezoning. You'll recall we had a workshop about that, and we were potentially looking at developing future areas for residential, commercial, industrial, etc. So there has been quite a lot of interest. In some cases I've met with people, a lot of it's been discussions over the telephone. And I've got to say there's been overwhelming support for some of the proposals for rezoning. So much so that we're going to have to make a decision at some point because we will not be able to rezone all that land. That's essentially where I've been spending most of my time.
So they're quite scattered, the land that people are approaching you about?
Yeah, they're all around the place in the 3 communities. I'm very pleased that some of the key areas that we're looking at, there has been some interest from some of the landowners. So that's great. Gives us an avenue potentially to move forward.
So Kelly, in your discussions, are you yourself developing a prioritised list?
Now, what I'm doing at the moment is, and Matt also from Habitat Planning, we're keeping a list of people that we've been talking to and just indicating whether or not they support it generally or not. So we're just going to use that information moving forward to try and refine the areas that we need to concentrate on and come back to the council, obviously.
So what level of progress or urgency do you attach to this? What sort of a timeline do you envisage?
Well, we're still hopeful that the exhibition for that plan will occur around July.
Yes.
One of the, there are things that obviously will affect that timeline, and one of them is, I guess, how we're going with some sub-consultants reports that are happening at the moment, the investigations particularly for biodiversity and heritage. So we're waiting for that information. The draft plan is almost complete, but we need that information to be able to feed into it and then communicate that to the department and then go from there.
Okay. Are there any further questions of Kelly? If not, would somebody like to move? Sorry.
The 3 solar energy farms, is that 3 new ones that are
Oh, they're coming out with fuel, that's right.
okay.
Everybody wants to have a solar farm.
Is that because of the transgrid lines?
Essentially.
So I know lots of this stuff is commercial in confidence or for non-disclosure, but are these people that have many other irons in the fire?
Well, some of them are larger organisations, some of them are smaller with other types of interests.
Okay. Would somebody like to move, please, if there's no further questions? Moved Councillor Curthy, seconded Councillor Bryce. Those in favour of the recommendation that will read, the information contained in the Manager of Planning and Environment's monthly report be noted. Those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those against? Carried. Thank you. Item number 18, please.
This is a report on the Corporate and Community Services section of Council, including CHSP or Community Services, Library and the Drought Support Officer projects and funding. If anyone has any questions about any of those?
Councillor Cherwin.
With the community transport, I was talking to Kathy Lawrence, who used to do the community transport, and I was under the illusion that was well patronised and it was probably about 10 to 15 people that would have been using it. She tells me there's only about 6 to 8 regulars. And she said to me that with that little bus that we own, why don't we take it on and once a fortnight take that into Griffith as a community transport? I just wondered if that was feasible.
That's what we're going to be doing. We, instead of using the Robertson's bus, that's to cut down on the cost. But until we get more direction, we've just been taking 1 or 2 in the car.
Because Councillor Smith said that the Lockhart bus was running for
Belmar. Have you spoken to Belmar as yet?
And I just sort of wondered, because I've just had people that sort of need to go into vehicle stuff, and they would prefer to go on the bus because it gives them more options to do what they want to do for the day.
We don't, with the bus that normally goes in on the Wednesday, there weren't a lot of medical appointments on those days, but, you know, if they can bring Kerry or I, we'll see.
Okay.
John, when do you envisage that this restriction may well be eased?
I know that we've taken a very conservative approach to it because we've beaten what we've had to beat with COVID to date. Vaccines started rolling out yesterday. They're going to start hitting the most vulnerable and then the age group that we've got. So I'm not in a place to put a recommendation to council until that vaccine starts rolling out, since we're so close to the target group being vaccinated and our workers being vaccinated. I've asked Sue and she's trying to find out when our workers will get the vaccination, when they're due to be hit with that. And once we know that, then we should be able to come back to council with a recommendation of when we think that we could safely go. We're so close, the vaccine's there. Why would we? Well, I don't want to put council in the position where we could be hit with a whatever from out of left field and go rampant here when we're so close to having the vaccine available to the target group that we're trying to support.
I was listening to the ABC Riverina this morning, and they had a lady from Murrumbidgee Local Health District speaking about the rollout of the vaccine, and the aged care component is, of course, first. But she said it will be 6 to 8 weeks before our aged care, the 1A, are complete. So, but that's not way off in the far distance. If we could give that information to our users of this service, you know, perhaps by speaking and saying, you know, we have to ensure that you are safeguarded as best you can, and that will occur once you are all immunised. And also our workers have to be safeguarded at the same time. So as soon as we are aware that that will take place for our elderly in our community, we can then put in place a plan to move forward.
I'm not saying that they all have to be vaccinated to be the part of it, but the opportunity's there. They're signed up. Let's move forward on the plan then. That's what my recommendation will be to council.
So, Chris, does that give you some?
Well, at least that gives them a time frame.
Yeah.
Because at least they know, if we can say, yes, it's going to be 6 to 8 weeks, they know it's coming back.
That's what was said on the radio this morning.
Yeah. That would be the first round of injections.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, they'll have both of them. 1A will have both.
Within the 8 weeks.
Yeah. There's 21 days,
Yeah.
3 weeks between it. So, but then they're going to start parallel 1B, which a lot of the elderly of the age group will be in that as well. And so I don't know whether our workers are in 1A or they're in 1B.
I think they are in 1B.
Yeah, from what I've read, but yeah, you just,
The workers.
Yeah.
The 1A is the first line emergency essential, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, or our aged care workers that are in the hospitals and aged care centres, they're in 1A, so.
Yes.
But
There
that
is
gives,
a,
councillor Smith?
there is a map on their website.
Yeah.
That shows you how they anticipate rolling it out, which age groups and.
But 1A doesn't have to be complete before 1B starts. That's the thing.
And of course, all of that is subject to availability because, you know, it's starting to come on board, but Murphy's Law is there will be glitches along the way there with that. So we just have to be very mindful of that. Yes, Councillor Brown.
How do we find out when it's something coming to our local government area, or do we have to travel to Brooklyn through Albury or Wagga to get?
No. I think it will come to our area, but it will be managed from Wagga.
Yeah, I think by.
91% of the providers, doctor providers, GPs.
Yeah, have taken up the thing to do it, but it will all come to that central hub and then it will come out to us.
So my understanding is there's freezers going to be in Albury, and then they've got 5 days after it leaves from there to administer those. So it can outreach a fair distance in that period of time. Yeah.
It's not a big deal. They're making a big deal out of it.
Well, it is a big deal because we're all going to be saved, so it's a really big deal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
so-
They use guidelines and
Yeah.
stored. Guidelines 30.
Okay, are there any further questions of Sue? If not, would somebody like to move? Moved Councillor Turkey, seconded Councillor Smith, that the recommendation read that the information contained in the Manager Corporate and Community Services monthly report be noted. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against, carried. Thank you. Item 19, please.
Oh, yeah. So, Kelly's unfortunately, but I can get her on the phone if anybody has any specific questions for her out of her report. She said she's at the end of the phone. Are there any specific questions? Councillor Smith?
Page 60 of the report, there's a submission being done to the New South Wales Community Heritage for a grant, for an access grant to the Bolt exhibition and virtual exhibits for the Ned Kelly Trail. I was just wondering who she's been liaising with over that.
Okay. I'll get you an email.
And we've been talking about our QR codes for our interpretive signage and signposting and that. Should we be considering going to an audio component as well? And has she got any information or contacts or what have you on that?
Are there any further questions regarding Kelly's report? Only noting the Women in Business function. It is to happen on the, I think is it the 10th? Is it the 10th of March? Yeah. I just encourage the people in the room and those outside the room in the contacts in the network to make an effort to attend that. I think it's a really good networking opportunity, so let's get on board and try and get there. There are no other comments, queries or questions. Somebody like to move the recommendation? Moved Councillor Churban, seconded Councillor Bryce, that the recommendation read the information contained in the Manager Economic and Tourism Development monthly report be noted. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against, carried. Thank you. Item 20, please. Steve.
Good afternoon. Just my asset manager's report last month. So.
Are there any questions of Steve?
refurb? It's finished now?
No, we're still working on the southern side, the chamber area.
Yeah.
Toilets.
Going to be fantastic, isn't it, Steve? The council area. Council area.
So what's your ETA? We'll be there for our next meeting, won't we?
That's our plan, finish that, whether you're in there for the actual meeting, but, that's.
Yeah, we'll do that.
No, I mean, we could be working weeks.
Is there any modification done between that screen between the office staff and community members?
No, the perspex is still there.
Still there?
Yeah.
And it's going to be modified to make it a little bit easier for.
Yeah, there was some discussion around that, so we'll be looking more into that.
Yeah, thank you.
Are there any further questions of Steve? If not, would somebody like to move? Moved Councillor Smith, seconded Councillor Brown. That the recommendation read, the information contained in the asset manager's monthly report be noted. Those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those against, carried. Thank you. Item 21, please. Will.
Good afternoon, everyone. Again, just want to record the stuff I've been working on over the last month. Probably one to note is I've met with the fishing club and community groups at the Darnish Point boat ramp, and we're working through some of their suggestions and ideas for that facility.
So it was built to plan,
Yes.
so Chris Sutton was going on an old plan that he had.
Yes, correct.
So what did the result from Chris yesterday? What needs to be done? He's talking about the bank washing away when heavy rain.
Yeah, we've got a few things that we worked out with him, told him what we were planning to do, and he was looking at getting, club was looking at getting some quotes for the same things I was, so we just worked out together what we're not doubling up, and our options worked out properly.
Which bank are you referring to, Councillor Black?
The Levy Bank, washing under the road.
Yes. Okay. And Will, what is being done about that fence that was put there?
Well, the fence is constructed as per the contracted documents, and I said to Chris, well, we can get a quote to replace it with the metal one if you're not happy with it.
It's not, the issue is not the product that was used, it's the quality of the product and the really poor installation of the fence. It moves. Like this.
It's concreted in now.
I fixed it.
Yeah, but it's splintered. It's a very poor product that was used, and but that's good if it's been concreted in. At least it's stable. It's not going to fall over. And what about the restrictions so that people can't back over the edge of the thing into that lagoon?
The wheel stops being put in the car park.
Is that the little concrete ones?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow, you wouldn't want to put your foot on the wrong thing.
I thought the discussion was that it was to be more substantial than that.
Well, you can't do U's in there anymore.
No, I'm not worried about the U's. I'm worried about the reversing back into place and going over the edge, which this is not very much stopped.
Well, we did suggest, was it possible you were going to have a look, I think, Will, at that W strap, which you've got on the sides, bridges, as a definite stop behind those concrete blocks.
That's a lot of money.
I guess, Will, it is it's a project that is fantastic, and I think it's being used. But it's it's the finish that will determine the ultimate success of it, and it's just council's hope that those small things, but important things, are attended to, so we don't get a project that we say in a couple of years' time, gee, I wish we'd done that, or I wish we had actually attended to that. So. We just need to be, I think the product they used on the fence was appropriate. It's just the quality of that product which undermines the end. But anyway, if we're looking to attend to the bank and to try and minimise the erosion on that with heavy rain or whatever, that'd be good. And I do still think we need to attend to that lagoon drop. I don't think this is as it should be. I think it needs better attention to minimising the risk that is attached to that. Okay, are there any further questions of Will and his report, please? Councillor Bryce.
Well,
Could I note you talk about the Darlington Point Cemetery. I'm at the Jerilderie Cemetery. If the rose replacement program could please be tended to so that the roses can be ordered in the right time of year, which is very soon.
Yeah, that's talking just about that, so it's
So we were going to have a cemetery master plan developed to cover all three towns. Is that underway, Will?
we're still working on that.
Okay. Thank you. Any further questions of Will? If not, would somebody like to move Will's report? Councillor Smith, seconded Councillor Bryce. That the recommendation read the information contained in the Operations Manager monthly report be noted. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against, carried. Thank you. Item number 22, please.
This is a report on the bushfire preparedness work that council has undertaken since the last report, which was in October. This is a list there, the works that have been done. And well, that with the recent rain and weather, all these works are just ongoing where it's required. Vegetation grows.
My only commentary around that, Will, is that, this comment here says the below fire preparedness works were completed since the last report in October. The commencement of the bushfire season is the 1st of October. So should not all this of preparedness and this work have been done by the 1st of October?
Some of these, the fire breaks rating couldn't be completed because of the rain.
Okay.
Machinery couldn't get in completed, but a lot of this stuff is ongoing, slashing vegetation continual throughout the year.
I know the RFS were very nervous that some of the works hadn't been completed. There was lots of talk about the fuel growth out there, and they were very nervous until such time as these works were undertaken. And But anyway, thank you very much for that. Councillor Brown.
Yeah, just on that one, I think it was July, you have a meeting with RFS and they come up with what we need to do. So whether or not that could go into our action plan, that still gives us 3 months, didn't it, to get ours up to scratch.
I think we.
It needs to be a priority.
I think we. There's scope for improvement in collaboration and communication between the RFS and council, and it doesn't require a lot. It just needs to make sure, as Councillor Brown said, perhaps July we start actively working and engaging with them, and then we will be fire ready when we need to be fire ready. Excellent. Are there any further questions of Will? Somebody like to move, please? Move Councillor Brown, seconded Councillor Smith. Those in favour, please, of the recommendation which will read, the information contained in the bushfire preparedness report be noted and updates be provided during each month of the fire season. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against, carried. Thank you. Item 23, please.
Standard report on the development applications that have been approved over the Christmas period. Please let me know.
Yes. This DA 48 Jerilderie is at the Kidman. It is the Jerilderie end of the Kidman Way.
This is out near Yanko Creek.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, any further questions? If not, would somebody like to move? Move Councillor Black, seconded Councillor Smith. Those in that the recommendation read, the information contained in the development applications approved under delegation December 2020 and January 2021 be noted. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against, carried. Thank you. Item 24, please.
It's just a report from the biosecurity officers, what they've been working on recent time. Questions?
Are there any questions of Steve regarding his report? Councillor Murphy.
This year's been a very difficult year for weed control. The rains that we've had. Been very difficult. I see the guys been doing a lot of work there. The weeds have been occurring. They've been doing the best they can. So I understand the challenges they face. I have the same trouble with my block, so
It's a bit smaller.
I'd like to thank them that they're doing a great job, but I know how difficult it is for them to try to keep up with it. So do I appreciate it.
Yeah, similar. The khaki weed and the spiny pearl, well, they've got on top of the spiny pearl, I believe, except for a couple of sites. But the khaki weed on roadsides, you know, I don't know whether we've got enough money in our budget or what our issue is, but why aren't we spraying our roadsides?
No, sorry, yeah, resources and funding, you don't have it, like, something you'd have to constantly be treating, especially this year, with the amount of ranges that take up a lot of time and resources to spray it. Not really be knocking it over.
And the one that kills them the best you can't use in this area between 1st of October and end of March.
It's very difficult weed to control.
Well, the one you can do it is it kills cotton too, 20 k's away.
Yeah, I don't know, I just reckon it's a reflection on our staff. It's really good, like you said, Kurt. And they had a go, but when you get another rain, you've got to have another go. So whether or not we've got to look at our budget and put more money in, you know, we don't get many wet years, we have more droughts than wet years. Anyway, thanks.
And I'd just like to make a comment around the mice problem. It is really significant, and there's a lot of public information out there about some of the products that are used and how toxic they are to our animals.
And ourselves.
And ourselves, but we don't normally eat the rat bacon.
No, they put them in houses.
Yeah, well, mouse off is the one I'm talking about, and there's no antidote to treating animals that have ingested this. It will kill them. So, and given the movement in our crops and different things, it is really, really significant. So we just need to be very mindful about how we treat the mouse issue, and be mindful of not only our own pets but our neighbours' pets. And they are on the march and on the move. They're having a party, and trying to deal with it as best we can is very challenging. But some of the products are lethal, and as Rob said, you know, careful use of it for our animals, but also for human care is paramount. So we probably could do just an information brief for our ratepayers on the website and Facebook and our newsletter, as to just, you know, be careful.
People are using it in the ceilings of their houses.
It was on the ABC this morning. Yes, and it's the fumes that they're giving. It's giving off. They're removing it free of charge.
But if your roof was moving, you would be tempted. Not if you read the instructions, but in desperation. And some people's houses are moving.
Robert, did they say somebody had died, or they don't?
5 people in hospital.
Hospitalised.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Steve. Did we do move and second that? Would somebody like to move the biosecurity report? Move Councillor Brown, seconded Councillor Smith. Those in favour, please say aye. The recommendation will read that the information contained in the biosecurity sale yards, truck wash and stock control report be noted. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against, carried. Thank you. Item 25, please.
Look, will you give Justin a go?
Yeah, that's what I like to see.
I love a team approach.
Yeah, I love that.
Get matching coloured shirts next time.
Matchy. Okay.
This is works in progress or works completed last month report. Doing a lot of RMS work at the moment, with Kim and Wade. And if there's any questions about, of course, let me know. And Justin know as well.
Well, I was just thinking, Ruth's bugbear, the work you're doing in Echidna Way near the dirt, if you could just put some dirt in there.
Oh,
The one on the corner.
I'm happy to take the trailer up and do it myself. Because seriously, a small car will break something underneath it. And I know they fill it in, but fill it in with bitumen, something that's not going to, it's really dangerous. And you see people trying to avoid it. That's if they know it's there and they swing right out here or cut the corner. And then you see people who don't know it's there and they go bang into it. So.
Yeah. I saw a Corolla stuck in there the other day.
He did not. That's creative. Councillor Bryce?
Can I just make mention that historically Tidy Town's president, before he passed, always did the town entrances on Tidy Town's mower. Tidy Towns now does not have anybody that is capable of taking a mower out with a trailer and doing that. And I think it needs to be put on our works program that council staff do it, because it has been let go since Ian passed away.
Are we able to do that?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. Thanks.
Also, to that matter, Tidy Towns has a trailer for the mower, which now will never probably be used. And if council is able to use that in their maintenance plan.
I'm sure that we'll assess to see if that trailer suits our needs. If not, we may not take it or take it.
Yeah. Any further questions of Councillor Brown?
Yeah, we've put a lot of work into the roads late last year and got everything up to scratch. And of course, we had a big harvest, so we've got a lot of corrugation. I don't know where our budget is for graders, but we've had a lot of rain. And it seems to be, when you come through a corner or the truck slows down, when he's going through the gears, the first 200 to 300 metres is, it's all corrugation. And it'll throw you off the road. Yep.
We deliberately left them there to tell them that there's an intersection coming up.
Slows the traffic down.
Well, I don't know, but it's back to our common complaint, and we're judged by our roads. And I know we're always short of finance, but we really, the corrugation, I've had lots of people tell me, what are you doing? And I'm just passing it on, and hopefully we can fit it into our budget somehow. Please. And the other one, just thank you for sorting out the quality. Yeah, that makes a big difference. Thank you.
Any further questions? No. The recommendation will read, the information contained in the works in progress report be noted. Would somebody like to move, please? Move Councillor Kirby, seconded Councillor Gilbert. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against? Carried. Thank you.
Just one thing, I noticed today that the new director of infrastructure hasn't
said anything?
He's so busy taking notes that I haven't commented on that, and I'm very happy to see that. And I reckon with the amount of notes that have been taken, there's going to be an explosion of different things.
Think something like that every month now.
Hey, I'm keeping down. Okay, would somebody like to move into confidence, please? Move Councillor Smith, seconded Councillor Brown. Yeah, we go offline now. I just need to go to the bathroom. I'll be back in a bit. Sorry.
I've got 6 months left on council.
Go back to Facebook Live.
Yeah.
Okay. Item 26 being the Brolga Place PPPA PPA evaluation. And the recommendation that will read that council authorise the general manager to engage suitably qualified professionals in the design and construction drawings for bulk-faced shade structure, landscaping and building modification. Further advising Linked Group Services Proprietary Limited that they will not be proceeding with their tender proposal. Somebody move, please. Brown and Bryce. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against? Carried. And item 27, the recommendation will be on the matter of Smith and Chirgwin that the council endorse the recommendations contained within the revenue generation report. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against? Carried. Thank you, everybody.